Hello and welcome to Clip Studio Mini Lesson 004. That's a bit of a boring title. The actual title is Funko Pop Catwoman. So what we're doing here is we're getting straight in, painting in the top of a cowl there and her ears in grey. We're then adding her body in grey. And I'm doing here what I did on the Spider-Gwen Stacy painting that I did in lesson number 3. I'm just blocking in the body, the parts that are in this particular grey. I'm blocking in quickly, not going for a perfect shape, not even going for a full blocked in colour there. You see gaps. So now I'm on the black and I'm just painting that in around the cowl, just around the face there, and we'll just follow up, go round the nose, back down, and we'll just fill that in with the colour there. So we're going round the eyes again, getting them into that cat shape, very rough. That'll be tidied up later with an eraser. And again, if you've seen my other lessons, you'll see that I use an eraser a lot to tidy up, especially with this program. It's so much easier when painting to just block in your colours and then come back with an eraser later to tidy up the lines, to tidy up the shapes. And again, you're using the eraser as a drawing tool, not just as a means of correcting errors. So as a case in point here, those eyes, the cowl isn't the right shape around the eyes, so I'm now using the eraser to improve that shape, to really draw in the gap there. I'm then adding the eyeballs in there, and on this particular Funko Pop she only has a single eyelash, so I'll add that, and again I'll tidy those eyelashes up with the eraser later on. So I'm adding the flesh colour around the eyes there. It's on a different layer, it's on a layer that's below the cowl so that it doesn't, I can just paint that in behind the cowl. It doesn't matter if I go over the lines. I've removed the pencil template now so we can just concentrate on the painting. And I'm just adding a darker flesh colour there to get the shadow under the chin and under the nose. Then a grey colour to get the highlight on the cowl. Just roughly painting that in there. I've only just realised how quickly I'm actually painting on this. This isn't sped up, it is actually this quick. I was obviously going for it on this one. So we're just adding the shadows in there. Just again quite roughly, because we're going to use our smudge or smear tool later on just to blend that in. So don't worry too much if it's a bit messy. You're probably thinking this looks a bit of a mess, this doesn't look very good. Just wait until we start smudging that in and go around. So here we go, you'll start to see what I mean. It starts to look a bit better. There we go, and again on the face just a little bit, and really just go for that. So I'm adding some highlight on the face. This is just a bit of white on there. Again, it looks messy, it looks scrappy, but we're going to use our tool to blend that in. And it really starts to take shape now. You start to see the sort of 3 dimensions of it now with the light and the shade. Just tidying up the edge. So here again you see I'm using the eraser to sharpen up the lines, just to sort out some of the little bits that have gone over, to give it some shape. And you'll see right until the end of this that I keep doing that. Certainly around the ears you'll see that I just keep going back and erasing, using that eraser as a drawing tool to improve it. I've gone back to the eyes again just to improve them. And as I said before, get the eyelash right, get the eyeball in there. It's really starting to take shape. There we go again, just erasing around the ears, give them more cat-like shape. I will come back to that later. I can say that now because it's in hindsight. So I'm just starting to shape her body now around the waist, around her legs, and then down to her boots. And again, if we make a mistake with the eraser, we can just go back to the undo button and undo it. It's the beauty of drawing digitally. And you'll even see here that I've made her waist quite thin there. It doesn't look very good, so in a short time I'm going to come back and paint that back in because I'm not happy with it. So we're just shaping the boot there, just tapering it down. we've jumped a little ahead now and we're just putting the shading on those ears. And over the top you'll see of the brush size getting bigger so that I can draw that in, paint that in. Some highlight there. More on the ear, again quite sketchy. Highlight on the chest, down the thighs there. Quickly done, simply done. Just a little circle there to give the highlight on the stomach. And then again, look, we're just smudging it in. It really starts to look three-dimensional now. Really starts to pop out. That wasn't meant as a pun, by the way. That just what came out of my mouth at that point. Going back to the head, just keep smearing it, smudging it, whatever you want to call it, blending it. There, really starting to look good. And I've almost forgotten her belt. So all it is these little yellow triangles, and that's all I'm going to do for the belt. Now I've zoomed in again. Another great feature of working digitally, you can zoom in to get stuck into those details. So I'm just adding a bit of black to those boots just to give them some proper shape there, to improve them. Go back to the hand there, do that, and the elbow, and just starting to go from that very sketchy start into a much more finished painting. And add the whip here, quite an easy sort of reverse S there. Down at the bottom, put a knot on the end. Not much more to do on that really. The focus isn't on that, so I'm not going to go to town on making that a finished drawing there. And just moving the screen up a bit to concentrate on the face. I'm just going to fix that eye around there like that. And the other one. Oh, little mistake done at the side there, we'll rub that out soon. Oh, it's gone. Again, shadows in there. So just keep going back, and where I see I need some more shadow, I put the shadow in. Where I need more highlight, I put that in, and I just blend it in as I go along, just smoothing it out. It's a simple technique. It only uses 3 tools: the paint tool, the eraser, the smudge or smear tool, whatever it is on your particular program. And that's all you need really for this level of painting. Adding the highlights to the eyes there, and then some more highlights to the face, and I'm just making the brush a bit bigger just to make it easier to paint that in. And you'll find that when you add highlight, it really does make something look three-dimensional, really makes it come to life. Sorry I went a bit quiet there, I was just watching myself paint. So we'll just add a little highlight across the nose, because obviously the nose makes that poke out a little bit like that. More highlight around the head there. Now I know at some point I do come back to the ears with the eraser to make them even more cat-like, but that's obviously to come. Let's see what we're doing. Yes, let's make that nose stand out, and the chin there. Let's get a good shadow under that chin to make it stand out. And that side of that eye there, we'll just smudge that in a bit. And then my next job is just to erase some of the body that's overlapping with the head there, to make a sort of smooth transition there. And then once again I'm just using that eraser to tidy up. Here we go on the ears. I thought I did that again. Just shaping them into that cat-like shape, and just taking off a little bit at a time. Again, if I go wrong, I can just press the undo button and fix it. Very satisfying part of the painting, I have to say. And it just helps finish it there. Oh, yeah, you see I made a mistake there. Pressed the back button and it came back to life. And I could fix it that quickly. So now I'm moving it about the screen so that I can see what I'm doing. And we're back to the feet by the looks of it. Yep, we need to sort those boots out. We need to just get the shape of them right. Get them to taper down to the bottom in a nice little satisfying shape there. And on the other side. Again, just shaving off the edges to get it to a satisfying shape. There we go. There's not much for me to say really. I'm just hoping that you're taking this in, hoping that you're enjoying watching and that you're also learning. You know, if you have a go at these, you'll find that they're very easy to do. Very simple way to learn to paint, to learn to do characters. And there, I'm just giving that glove there some shape. Just making it a bit more angular there. And the shoulder there, just making that shoulder stand out. Zoom back out. Yeah, here we go. I thought I'd done that. Yep, I've noticed that waist looks a bit too thin, so I'm just adding that back in. So as you can see, I've just gone back and all I'm doing is just adding that back in. And this is what I really like about digital drawing again, is you can add, take away as many times as you want. It doesn't rough up the paper or the canvas you're using, it doesn't build up the medium. Once it's gone, and you can just keep redoing it. So I'm just adding highlights now again, just making the adding the shadows there. So the highlights and shadows are just making it again have more form, makes it look more three-dimensional, more real. Basically makes it not look flat, and that's what it's about. But again, I'm not making up these highlights and shadows, I'm drawing them from what I can see on the photograph. And again, you'll hear me say this so many times, the most important tool in your toolkit is your eyes. You've got to look at what you're drawing, look at the subject all the time, and this is where you get the corrections from and the added highlights, is because you look at the subject, you look back to your painting and you see something's not right, so you correct it. And that's the only way to get good results. So I'm just using a bigger brush now just to really smudge that in. You can see that's really starting to look good, really starting to smooth that out. Now what have we got left to do on this one? I think we're nearly there, just little touches. I'm zoomed in again. Oh yes, of course, I've not put the fingers in. Now this is a very quick example of just the use of simple lines to suggest something. I haven't drawn fingers there, I've drawn 3 little lines of highlight on a black blob, but because of what we perceive, we think that's a hand and fingers. Like the other hand with the thumb, I've only drawn a little rough line, and yet when we zoom out, we see that as a shine on a leather glove, and we see it as a hand. And that's the beauty of painting, is that you don't always have to put every single minutiae in there. You can just use broad